How did you find Jasmine?
Um, Again, just being bored. I was still in recovery and couldn't really function a lot, get out and do things because it just didn't have the energy. And so just playing around the internet and basically looking for people to talk to and know that I'm not the only person still alive because I was pretty much by myself, and just living my day to day, waking up, eating, going back to sleep. And I just needed the interaction with people before I went nuts. So I went online looking for chat sites and stuff like that, and I just came across it. And I was like, okay, I'm a guy. Let's check this out. After playing around, bouncing, and talking to different models here and there, I finally came across one that just kind of like, hmm. And we started talking, and it just took off. And now we're really good friends.
So you still talk to her?
Oh yes,
How many times a week would you say you talk to her?
honestly, probably every day.
Really?
Actually, I know it's every day because um, with the message thing where you have the fires, um, how long you, how many days in a row you communicated. We had it up to 200 and I'm sorry, 178. And then she went on vacation and got to a point where she didn't have any reception, and we lost it.
Wow.
Oh yeah, it is really cool. I mean, I was it's kind of weird. I mean, but I was upset when we lost those fires because like you said, it showed that hey, we've communicated with each other every single day, if nothing more than hi, how are you? And then for it to go, it's like, oh, what happened? And you had to start all over.
Do you know where you're at now with the fires?
Actually, yeah, I think 31.
31. All right. So you got a month down.
Yeah, well, we actually had it rebuilt to 20 because we lost them in June, yeah, June, and we started rebuilding them. And then she went on a weekend getaway type thing, and it happened again. And it was like, oh, come on, man. We did it this far, and now we can't do it more than a month. But things happen, life happens.
Yeah, it's interesting because as I listen to you talk, I can tell that you genuinely enjoy your communication with this model.
I mean, well, her especially because I mean, it's good interaction, good conversation. Um, it's not talking to somebody who is doing a job. She actually acts like she wants to be there and communicate. And it's basically it's a friendship, 10,000 miles apart.
What would you say it is about your communication with this model that you enjoy so much?
I don't know. I mean, we have a lot in common, and it's the camaraderie. Um, the you, I don't know how to say. Everybody has their issues. Everybody has good days. Everybody has bad days, and we can share those with each other. And and it's easier sometimes, even though now she's not a stranger, she's still a stranger, if that makes sense. And sometimes it's a lot easier just to throw your problems out to somebody who doesn't is not involved and doesn't really know exactly what's going on. And just like perfect. I mean, since my heart attack, I've developed anxiety, which apparently is one of the after symptoms of heart attacks. And sometimes it gets really, really bad. I have never not gone into her room while having an anxiety attack and come out still having it. She
Wow.
always calms me down and gets my head back on track so that I can function.
Wow. That is so powerful. So you've actually been having like a panic or an anxiety attack, and you've gone to her room, just it sounds like just wanting like that connection, someone to talk to. And every single time you come out of the panic attack while you're talking to her.
Mm-hmm. And we'll talk about anything. We'll talk about music. We'll talk about, obviously, we'll talk about each other's lives in general. But we'll talk about music, movies. Sometimes it'll actually go off onto what's going on in the world, but then my blood pressure starts to rise again. So we back it off and go to something else. Um, And it's just the talking and communication. And of course, sometimes when you're in the free chat stuff, you get the other members involved, and it just turns into a big group conversation. And again, like I said, I don't like people, so that setting is great for me because if I get to the point that I'm done with this, and I can just say, hey, I'll talk to you later, I'm out, and then come back a little while later. Otherwise, if you're actually in a group, you're kind of hostage.
Yeah, you're stuck. It's not as easy to just be like, okay, click, see you later.
Right. There is another model that I talked to and that is just, it's not as close knit, I guess you could say, but her room is nothing but a giant conversation
Mm.
nonstop. And that one I can't really stay too long because the people do get a little and it's like, all right, guys, you all going way overboard. I'm done here, and I'll go back. But with this particular model that I always say, like I said, we've got a few people that we both are friendly and talk to with a lot when they come in. It's like, and we'll just sit there and have a conversation, and basically like, hey, let's go out for a beer type thing, and sit around, catch up, and do what we got to do.
I love that. That's just, yeah, just those conversations like you're at a pub. What's up?
Yeah,
Yeah,
how was
chatting.
work?
Yeah, very cool. Very cool. Okay, so this is really interesting to me. You've mentioned one model in particular that you clearly have a very strong connection with. Are there any other models that you have a connection with, or is it really just this one model that you spend most of your time with?
I spend most of my time with her, but there is, and throughout the year, there have been others that I've kind of connected with, but it kind of just went to the wayside after a couple weeks or months or whatever. Just it's just the conversation level for me just wasn't there anymore, and so on I went. But like I said, I do have that one other one with the her room is always a chat. That's all it is just chat, 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 and and like in that one, she's got some friends that, and we're all talking. We all know each other's business because of the way this room is set up. Like, they just had a baby, and so through the whole pregnancy and delivery, we're getting updates in the room. Say, all right, she just went into labor. She just, it was,
Stop
it
it.
was,
No, no, no. Are you serious?
yeah, yeah, it was. I mean, it's just, it was weird, but
It's a couple that uses live jasmine.
right.
Oh, wow. And so they use live jasmine. Then when she was going into labor, it was like, all right, she's contraction number one is down. Like,
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, that's what he was doing. He was giving up to minute play by play of what was going on.
fascinating. When you talk about what sounds like this incredible communication that you have with this one model in particular, that to the point where if you're having an anxiety attack, you can literally go and talk to her and it brings you back down. You guys have had a long communication streak for 178 days. Was it 178?
That was the record, yes.
Yeah, 178. When I hear you say that, it's interesting because a lot of people that think of live jasmine or the cam industry in general, they're like, no, it's just sexuality. That's it.
Yeah, and yeah, that annoys me because it's not, and that's one thing that's kind of fun to do too because we'll get in there and we'll be just doing whatever, and then you get these. I've got a mouth and I don't know how to tone it down, but buttholes. Let's go with that. That see them as objects and not people, and treat them as objects and not people. And it's like, dude, what? Why? You know, they're here trying to earn a living.
Yeah.
It doesn't give you the right because you think you know what they are, that they're not. It doesn't give you the right to come in and treat them as such. If you got a problem with them, then leave. I mean, there's sites out there that that's exactly what that is, and go find it.
If you could put into one word the main benefit that Jasmin brings to your life, what would you say it is?
Probably the camaraderie, the companionship, I guess, for lack of a better word. Even though I mean it's not a physical because I'm halfway around the world, um, but there's still a companionship there.
Absolutely. I think that that is something that for some reason is hard for the world to understand, which is that Jasmin in particular is very focused around, as you're seeing, relationships, and communication is really key. Do you think that, like you mentioned earlier, the fact that this model doesn't know anyone that you know, non-biased person, do you think it makes it easier to share things with her that you normally maybe wouldn't share with other people?
In my situation, I'd probably say no because I am a very open person. I'm very open and honest, and I'm an open book. I mean, you right now you could ask me the most personal question in the world, and I may not answer you on the camera, but I would answer the question just if it was just me and you. But I'm an open person, so I can't say that that affects the way that I talk with her, communicate with her, because I am a very open person.
What role do you feel like the model plays or fulfills in your life?
A confidant, someone that if I'm having a bad day, I can run to. Someone that she's having a bad day, she knows she can come run to me. And I mean, like I said, we're all human. We all have bad days, and there's days that I can go in that room going, "Oh shit, what's going on?" And you can tell it's not a good day. And I'll finally get it, break her down, and get her to talking because it does sometimes take a while, but I'll get her there. And then and her too, she'll feel better after finally. And that's what a lot of people don't understand about the human nature is sometimes just talk it out and you'll be a lot better. Get it off of you and you'll be good.
Yeah, that's so true.
Just knowing that no matter how bad things get in your personal life, you've got somebody that's going to have your back.
This connection that you have with this particular model, would you say that you're closer to her than some of the people in your day-to-day life, or is it just a different connection?
No, I'd say I'm probably closer to her for the like we mentioned, the fact that we're not physically in the same proximity, and and there are like I said, I am an open book, but there's things that I tell her that I wouldn't tell my next door neighbor, just because again I don't like people, you know. So, but if I do like you and we do start talking and communicating, I'm straight open book. I have no secrets from my friends, and just because I just don't, there's I'm a person, truth is always better. Lie will always come out. It may take months, days, weeks, months, years, but it will come out. And when it does, don't be on the other end of me because I want a hurtful truth instead of a happy lie because that happy lie is going to hurt me in the long run. And if you lie to me, I will find out, and then it's not going to be pretty.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree with you. The truth does always find a way to come out. Somehow, some way, the truth does reveal itself. I'm curious your thoughts on what are the differences between, say, traditional porn and camming, like live Jasmin?
It's easy because I've actually answered that question to her before. When we first started talking, uh, she asked me, she goes, it's really interesting to me, but why do people, guys in particular, but people in general, migrate from porn to cam? And the best thing I could come up with was for me, the cams are more real. The video is just that. It's a video. You're watching two people mess around. Okay. But there's no interaction really. With the cam, it's you and her,
So it's the
no matter what you do.
it's the interaction
Mm-hmm.
that is the key difference. Yeah. The interaction and the actual connecting of two human beings as opposed to, like you said, a movie.
Yeah. Because that's all traditional porn is just it's a movie. Even if it's only a 30-second movie, it's a movie. You go on a cam and you've got a captive audience, and it's you and her, and you can sit there as long as you want or for as little as you want and do anything you want. And that's why I'm going to leave it anything because it's anything. I mean, the scope is endless. I mean, to the point of like, especially with Live Jasmin, they can um, stream by mobile. So if they're on their day off and they're bored, they could message you and say, "Hey, I'm getting ready to go for a walk around the park. You want to come with me?" Sure. And she jumps on her stream. I jump on my thing. I connect to her thing, and we go for a walk around the park halfway around the world, which that's really cool too for me because I'm I like I said, I told you I love to travel and I want to see places. I mean, I've never left the country, but I would like to one day. And of course, obviously, right now we can't go there. But the um, so she walk around and show me things that I probably will never see. And pictures are pictures. Live feed from her phone is the actual thing. And that's my thing. Like when I do go to another place, not necessarily that I want her to take me to place to place to place because I know we can't meet up and stuff, but in general thing, I want to get my sources from people that are there. I mean, tour guy or not tour guys, but travel companies are great, but I want my source from the people who've lived it. And obviously, she's lived it. She can tell me, hey, when you come, if you ever come here, don't go see this. That's a tourist trap. Go see this. Nobody knows about it, but it's the best thing in town. You know, so you get your insider information.
And vice versa, right? You can
Oh
show her
yeah.
things in Florida that she's never seen about the US. That's one of the things that I think is really cool about Live Jasmine as well, is that because it's so many different people from so many different parts of the world that are connecting, you basically get to see life through someone else's eyes, and that's in a completely different culture or background,
Mm-hmm.
religion, anything. And so you get to learn about life through those eyes, which is fascinating. Or, like you said, literally just being on that live stream and seeing the park and wherever it is. Yeah, that's really cool. Like you both are teaching each other
Oh yeah.
about cultures.
And that's I mean, and that's what's really cool is the cultural difference. Like she asked me um, when we first started talking, can you? I mean, she speaks English very well, but she still has issues with certain things. Like she'll get the wrong word for this or that. And she asked me, "Can you help me with my English?" I'm like, "Sure, but don't get mad when I keep correcting you." And so she'll say something. I was like, "That's not what you meant." It's like, "Say it again." And she's like, "What?" And she'll say it, and I'm like, "No, that's not right." And I'll think for a minute, trying to figure out what she's saying, and I'll tell her. She goes, "I like this word better." Like, dude, you just asked me to help you, and you're gonna tell me no. But so it's fun. But she's, you know, like you said, it's the helping with the different cultures and language barriers and stuff like that.
Yeah, that's cute. That's a really cute story. Like, I like this word better. I'm gonna use this one, but yeah, I think
Well, like just she told me one time, and I told her, and she goes, "I'm going to teach you a word." And she told me, she goes, "You know what that means in my language?" I said, "What?" She goes, "I don't care."
how funny. How funny. Yeah, I can tell how these types of interactions could just bring a lot of like joy and fun to someone's.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah.
because like I said, it's a friendship and one that you'll never have here, local. No matter where in the world you are, a local relationship could never be. that kind of relationship because of the cultural differences and the differences.
Absolutely. And I think there is something kind of fun about these online relationships. You know what I mean? I don't know what it is. In-person relationships are, of course, they're important, just as important, I would say. But there is something special about these relationships that are really built just on communication and messaging and calling and video call. There is something really to that. Someone needs to study it. I'm sure they are, but there's something very desirable or intriguing about it.
Well, and I think like you said it, that it's about communication because everybody knows communication is key. If you don't have communication, you have nothing, um, except maybe a physical relationship. And a physical relationship won't last long. And if it does, you're both faking it. And with online, you're forced to establish that communication before you even think about a physical, if there's even ever going to be a physical. It's like, I mean, just for an example, um, when I was in the military, I met some people online, and my parents were like, "Isn't that crazy? I mean, that's dangerous." I'm like, "How well did you know mom when you picked her up in the bar?" You know, online, you cannot do anything physically to anybody. You pick somebody, a perfect stranger, up in a bar. There's no telling where that's going to go. I mean, that's facts of life. You just so you can work out that. Do I really want to try and trust these people on a further level, or do I just want to cut and run? But in person, you got to make that decision now. You don't have time to work it out, figure it out.
Right, right. Yeah, it's fascinating. I always say I think that's one of the reasons because I've interviewed a lot of Jasmin members, Jasmin models, and human connection experts, but I've interviewed members that have had this seen the same model for 15 years, 20 years. And I wonder, I'm like, okay, like what is it about the dynamic that keeps these relationships going for 15, 20 years? And when I think about it, I think it is because, like you said, when something is established so deeply on communication and this kind of vulnerable communication, because sometimes you are talking about very intimate or private things, it just kind of bonds you to the person. But I'm curious your thoughts on that.
I agree because it's the communication. The communication is established. You know, sometimes but for the most part, you're pretty sure that you can trust this person because you have established that communication. Yeah, you're gonna have hiccups, just like any relationship. And people's like, well, it's not a relationship. Yes, everything is a relationship, whether it's a personal, romantic, sexual, it's a relationship. That's just a generic word for two people being together in one form or another. So it is a relationship. And once you establish that communication, which is the basis of all relationships, you've got something. I mean, and there's not a doubt in my mind that we could have a big fight about something, go our separate ways, and 4 or 5 years, if she was still on here, and we would be able to pick up right where we left off. It may take a little bit of talking and making up, and I'm sorry, blah blah blah, whatever. But we had that communication already based, so we would still we would know each other.
I know exactly what you're saying. Yeah. Yeah. You have that connection that's already there. And yeah, do connections ever break? I don't, not really, but the communication can stop, but you'll still have, because exactly, I've had that with people in my own life where you have a very strong connection with them. And even though you may not communicate with them ever again or often, if you bump into them or you see them or something, yeah, absolutely, that connection is still very much so there.
It's like my brother-in-law, for instance. I mean, it's kind of gross. He was my best friend in high school, and then he married my sister. But which worked out for me because you can't be grounded from your best friend if he's your brother-in-law. But so and I mean, he lives in a different state now. So now that we're both retired, we see each other a lot. But when we were going up through life, working our careers and stuff, we didn't communicate hardly at all. But when we did get together, I might as well have just saw him yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
But I've always been a shy person when it comes to making initial contact with anybody, male, female, doesn't matter. Groups. I wouldn't say I'm an introvert, but I wouldn't say I'm an extrovert either. I mean, I'll party with the best of them, but I also like my peace and my quiet. And I, if I'm out at a party, if I'm in my close knit group, oh, it's on. I'm the life. But if it's a hey, we're all going over to this big party downtown, want to go? Sure. We go out to a club or whatever. I'm the guy sitting in the bar at in the booth while everybody else is out on the dance floor. I don't, now you get a couple drinks in me, I might come out there, but for the most part, I'm the one sitting waiting for people to come to me to talk because I don't like making that initial step. And it's the obvious reason. It's the rejection factor. Everybody's scared of rejection. And I guess that's probably the cool thing about Jasmin is that you can reject me and I can vanish. If I walk in and you don't say anything to me or it just doesn't work, click, I'm out. Next. Unlike at a club, now I got to sit there and look at this person all night. So,
Yeah, so it's kind of that makes Jasmin more of the safe place to a
mhm.
certain degree.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. It's definitely a safe place as far as that's concerned because, like I said, I can vanish that fast. I never have to see you again. You'll never see me again.
Yeah, that's very true. I'm curious if there's anything else about Jasmin, about your experiences with the model that we haven't talked about, but you want to share.
There are a lot of positives. Like one of the positives I really, really like is how, and it's just started recently, all the changes that Jasmin's been making, um, especially with the incentives to up your tier. And before, you could be a Casanova, and it was like, okay, and I'm a Casanova. Woohoo! I got a big white mask. All the models want me. I mean, now it it helps you to have that big mask. Because before, like it was it last week, I think they went with free messages for Casanovas. So now we can message back and forth all day long, and I don't have to worry about do I have the credit for that. You know, and it's just the the recognizing the people who actually help make the site what it is and thanking them for it goes a long way.
That's really kind. Yeah. So it seems like you feel as a Casanova, which is the top tier for members, you feel that the site itself has really done a good job of recognizing.
Recently,
Okay.
recently, it's like and before, like with the gift box, you know, you click on the gift box and it didn't matter what you were, guy who just registered or someone who's been there for 15 years with a Casanova mask, they're going to get the same kind of uh, rewards from that gift box. And if they don't use it, then they've got to wait 12 hours to get another one. Now with the Casanova, your reward is boosted. And if you don't use it, you've only got to wait 2 hours. to get another one, which is like, that's cool because, sometimes you get ones that I don't want that. I don't use it. Like I get free peaks. Before you'd get 7 free peaks no matter what. Now a Casanova, I think, is like 18 free peaks. I don't use the peaks because I'm not interested. Um, if I want to see that, I'll go into private myself. And so the free peaks, it's like, I don't want that. I'll just skip it. Wait 3 hours because you got to wait for an hour for the gift to go away. And then you wait 2 more hours and it resets. You click on it. Oh, 70% extra credits. I'll take that one. You know, and I think the max before was 40, no matter what. And now I think the max that I've seen, except on special days, was 70. But still, I mean, that's, yeah. And another thing that is really good is the customer service with Jasmin is absolutely phenomenal, which is surprising. I mean, not surprising for Jasmin, but surprising for the industry because like any issue I've ever had, like one time I got free credits. I went and got them, but I didn't get them. I went and bought the credits, but it didn't give me the credit. It didn't give me the extras. And even on the receipt, it didn't show there. But the page still showed that I had them available. I was like, okay, weird. So I clicked on it again. And when it went into select your package, that wasn't there. So I went to customer service or support and asked them, I was like, okay, what's going on? And they're like, you're right. Well, they said that you didn't have a bonus offer. It's like, yeah, I did. It says it right now, but it won't let me have it. And so they went through and said, well, we can refund that, blah, 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 and let you do it again. So we did that. And I mean, and it was quick, done. And then it happened again a couple days later. And so I messaged them and like, well, we're going to send this on up to higher level so they can look at it, figure out what's going on and why this is happening. And but in the meantime, for lack of a better word, compensate you for your inconvenience, and being that you are a Casanova, we really appreciate you. We're going to give you 100% extra credits. So for that, and they're like, and we can only do this every so often. We can't do this every week and every time this happens. I was like, hey, that's cool. I mean, 100% extra credits. I mean, it's double. 2 for 1. I was like, all right, that's great. But it wasn't none of this. Well, let's try and do this, blah blah blah. It was okay, no problem, done. And so they make it really easy and simple.
I'm really happy to hear that your experience has been so positive with the customer service because I do know that that is something that the company really works hard to make sure is the case. And so that's really great to hear that that's been your experience.
Oh yeah, I mean, I haven't had any really bad experiences. Like I said, there's always negatives, but it is what it is. But I've never really had any bad experiences, I would say.
Yay, that's good. And being a Casanova and, you know, investing and spending on the site in that way, it makes me think that the site really is adding some type of value to your life that you really benefit from.
Well, yeah, I mean, it sounds weird, but I would guess probably psychology. Because like I say, if I'm freaking out, I walk in a room, we start talking, and I'm calmed down. I
Wow.
mean, just give her a PhD in psychology and call her my shrink. So
That's incredible. I've absolutely loved this interview. Thank you so much for your time. Okay, my final question for you today will be if you could summarize your experience on Jasmin, your whole experience over the last almost year, in one word, what would the word be?
enlightening.
Beautiful. Thank you so much.
Thank you. I really appreciate. I enjoyed it.
Did you? Okay,
Yeah,
good.
I was